You are listening to the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network. Visit pencilandpaperproductions.podbean.com to find more great podcasts.
Welcome to the Palace of Megapixels. This is Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo. I'm your host, Stephen White. With me, as always, my co-host, Lacey Finney.
Oh, happy Monday and February.
And
Holy
it
cow.
is February, yeah.
Yeah.
How about that?
What do you know? We made it through the first month.
We shot right through it. Although, there were casualties along the way, as much as I hate to say that. Seemed like there was a death every single
I know.
day.
It's sad. I think our classics, it's reaching that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I know at least we're reading in their 90s and things like that, but man, still not all at once, man.
No. I guess the consolation is that they lived long lives,
Yep.
good lives, and for the most part, they weren't all taken by COVID.
Right.
Although
it seemed like it was
I think the
older
one
things you deal with, you live long enough and some of these things come along, but
I do know that Dawn Wells, the actress that played Marianne on Gilligan's Island, she did go from COVID.
oh, I hate to hear it. I
Yep.
didn't know that was the cause.
Mm-hmm. But hey, let's not be a Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Let's just start it off. So I do want to start things off, kind of piggybacking off of where we kind of left things last week.
Okay.
Because we were talking about we were trying to figure out something with that Godzilla vs. Kong trailer. And look, we thought we had something. We were trying. We did futz around with it for several, I'd say about 30 minutes after we finished
so
the
after,
podcast.
yeah.
And it was just like, you know what? Screw it. Because we should have planned ahead.
We
And
did.
I thought it would have been fun, but it doesn't matter. Point being, the trailer was awesome.
Yes.
I was
it
excited.
fun.
And I've tried to limit how many times I've watched it.
Sure. Well, you waited so long.
Yeah. But it's there now, and I want to soak it up, because what it did so perfectly is it gave me an outline of what the movie is without giving me so much. Because obviously we could sit here and say, oh yeah, it's this character versus this character, and why is that happening? I don't know.
Right.
And that's good. I really don't know why they're fighting.
Right.
Because the way they structured everything in the trailer is just like, what? What's going on? Huh?
Maybe we're going to find out they're like related. Like it's a half brother,
That would be
half
weird.
brother, half sister. I don't know
Yeah.
the gender of them, but
There are, because it's the internet, theories running rampant.
I'm sure.
And I'm trying to stay away from them. There's one theory running that I do kind of believe, and I don't know if I want to say it, because I don't want to throw that out there to anybody out there who's listening and may not want to hear it.
And then accidentally it be correct and inadvertently be a spoiler. Yeah.
But to what degree is the question as to why all of this. So
Okay.
there's one thing. I do believe that part of this theory is correct, like as being semi-responsible, but to what degree? And then there's another one out there that I've heard, because, you know, obviously everyone has theirs.
Sure.
And I actually think that sounds really good. So
Got a couple people onto something you like.
yeah, because there's something about it, and I was like, you know what? That could make a lot more sense in the context. But the one that I'm going to go ahead and shut this down, and I'll kind of leave it vague for, again, those who don't want spoilers, but there was some speculation that, well, it's not really Godzilla. If you do what I think, what could possibly be done in that scenario, you completely undermine what you're saying the movie is. If it's not Godzilla, then it's not Godzilla versus Kong. So therefore, this movie is not happening because you're not giving me that. You're giving me, oh, you're not really, okay, I got you now. No, but now we've not had.
That would be silly.
It would piss so many people off. You can't.
What are they saying it's supposed to be then, if not Godzilla?
If you're familiar with,
I'm not, of course.
If you're obviously, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not something that
yeah.
Okay, so spoilers for the next, say, 2 minutes.
If you're not familiar with this story and want to be surprised, I guess, yes.
But this is something that has been seen in other media. It's one of his longtime nemesis that has been reused in Japanese films. He's never been made an appearance here, stateside, as far as like an American movie. But theories running rampant. If it's not Godzilla, then it's Mecha Godzilla.
Okay.
Again, sounds great. Mm-hmm. I honestly believe there's some truth to him being in the film.
Okay.
But for him to be that character in those scenes, then we're not getting Godzilla versus Kong. We're getting Mecha Godzilla versus Kong, and that's not the same.
Yeah.
So I honestly don't think that's right. There could be an element of truth there, that maybe that's why Godzilla is going, a little berserk. Mm-hmm. But that cannot be that character, because at that point, well, it's not the movie you're promising me.
Right. Yeah.
So,
but I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't put it past like American writers and stuff like that to do that and think they're brilliant for throwing everyone off.
But if they are fans at all, they would know how much that would piss hardcore fans off.
Okay.
I want to see this fight again. Mm-hmm. I've only seen it once. I've seen Godzilla versus Mechagodzilla in 5 different movies.
Oh, wow.
He's fought King Ghidorah from the last movie too many times that I can't even think about it right now, because it's almost, he's been in so many damn movies. Mm-hmm. That's like his arch nemesis. But Godzilla and Kong, that's been one movie. 60 years ago.
Yeah.
Almost. So that's insane.
Let's do it.
I'm ready.
I know. It'll come out soon. I know. They pushed it a little bit, eh? I saw that.
March 31st. Wednesday. Damn it. I was getting ready to take that day off.
Aww.
Like a Friday, because I was like, yes. I'll just make a 3-day weekend.
Is that close to Easter this year?
Yeah. So March 31st, they're just like, well, we're going to push it for an Easter release. Like, then just release it the weekend. Good Friday, damn it.
Yeah. So is that I should look at a regular calendar instead of my computer one, because I don't know if Easter then is the 28th or the 4th.
4th, I believe.
Okay. Because you know how sometimes it can get
Yeah.
slapped on at the end of March, wherever the Tuesday lands.
But yeah, I might just take that Wednesday off. I mean, I know it's not something that I could go to work and come home and still watch it, but the problem is I know how the internet works.
Yeah.
And
you'll have to stay off all day.
The Mandalorian season 2 finale was spoiled for me via Twitter because of a trending name. And I was like, son of a bitch. I could piece it together. It's not like it was that hard. I saw the name. I saw why it was trending, and I was like, well, shit.
Yeah, you wouldn't have even known to block that to try to save yourself from spoilers.
It never occurred to me because I wasn't thinking about that character.
Right.
It was just... So, and that's it. That's a problem with WandaVision, which, by the way, was amazing this week.
Yes!
But I'm trying to stay isolated.
Yeah.
But I can't help what's trending. So I try to just avoid it at all costs, but I don't think about it sometimes. Or I can just pick up my phone and there'll be a headline.
Yeah.
What about this in WandaVision? Or what about this in Mandalorian? It's like, son of a bitch.
Stop it.
Just don't put it in your headline, you dumbass.
Yeah.
Or even the way they pose it can be something. I mean, if you're familiar with the content, you can piece it together. You're just like, gosh, come on, man.
Yeah. I don't understand it. And it's like from like major ones too.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't expect to get like spoilers
Mm-hmm.
in those categories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, but if I gotta stay home on a Wednesday, by God, I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. If it rolls into Good Friday, you're probably already off Good Friday.
Mm-hmm.
Just take a longer weekend.
I mean, you're right. I could do that.
It might, you might have some time built up where you could just take a paid day or something.
That's only two days.
Yeah.
So I could take the Wednesday, Thursday. Ooh, I like your thinking.
Telling you, not just a hat wreck, my friend.
That's right. Okay. Well, I'm gonna ponder. I'm gonna ponder that.
Ponder the possibility.
Another thing I wanted to bring up, because I've been doing this recently, and I just kind of wanted to touch on it. But then there was another thing I wanted to touch on as well, kind of semi-related. I have been watching The Simpsons recently. Now, it's not that I have never watched The Simpsons or have ever stopped, but with Disney Plus, you have 31 seasons available.
Right.
And I thought at one point, I don't know how far in I've actually watched. I'm going to watch them all. I'm actually going to, like, at some point really start paying attention, because I know about the ones I've seen 100 times versus the ones I haven't. And I'm really going to pay attention. I'm going to watch these because anytime you talk to anybody who watches, they're like, yeah, only the first 12 seasons are great. The rest of them suck. And I'm like, all right.
Okay.
And at some point I started watching from, like, let's say 13 on. And I remember there being some good episodes, some that I found personally amusing. I got some good laughs out of. So I guess that's why I was wanting to really focus in on it. I'm having a hard time understanding why people are shitting on it. I'm not saying that they are the highly regarded classics of the day. I can even tell a difference in the storytelling, even the humor. But I don't understand why they're hated. I'm probably in season 24 right now. And I've been doing this a while, mind you. It's maybe like 2 episodes a day or something like that. I was going to
say, you got over 30 years of content there to watch.
So it's been a slow burn, which is fine, but I don't want to miss anything. Like, because I'll usually watch them right before bed or something like that, just kind of relaxing. So I'll watch about 2 episodes and then turn it off. But I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to let that run all night where I'm just like passing out halfway through.
Right.
I actually
can't remember which episode you actually fell asleep on because it went 6 past. Yeah.
But I guess I'm not quite understanding where the hate's coming from. Sure, I can't say that I'm sitting there like, oh my God, this is so funny. This is the greatest episode ever. But I've gotten some genuine laughs out of it. I'm like, this is good stuff. It's not, I don't understand where it's coming from. In fact,
I didn't know it was getting that much hate, if I'm being honest.
If you kind of dig into it, people are just like, it's not very good. I don't understand why it's still on the air. Like these high and mighty, uppity sons of bitches who just think they're better than. It's like,
because they got in on something early.
Yeah. It's only the first 12 seasons.
It's probably because that's what they remember, because that's what was on when they were growing up.
Yeah.
Ergo, it's the golden age of Simpsons for you.
But there's so many good little things here and there that they've done. Even story, like development. Obviously, I wouldn't say that The Simpsons is hell bent on driving character growth.
I mean, the characters have never aged, so that's apparent.
But there does seem to be character growth kind of later on, like they build upon certain things. I'll even give you one, and this, if you haven't watched the show, then at this point, spoilers, non-spoilers.
Yeah,
I don't really
whatever.
care. This
Yeah.
is, they actually put Ned Flanders and Edna Krabappel together in a relationship. And it's in the series where I'm watching. This wasn't like a one-off. It's a thing. Like, they're married and living together. And they built upon that.
No idea.
And I was just like, holy crap. Like, it kind of shocked me. Because when they kind of did it at first in the episodes, I was like, huh. And they even did like a poll at the end because it was like a season finale. Like, hey, if you want to see this, keep going. And you go to Simpsons.com. And I was like, huh, all right, cool. And then the following
over
episode.
30 years, I guess you gotta get some help on some stories.
Right.
You know?
But in like the next season premiere, they said that they would let people know, and it was a very sly thing. So the entire episode had nothing to do with that thing.
Oh, yeah?
But as the episode kind of goes along, you'd see Ned, and he just showed up, and he's like, hey, guess what? I've got some really great news. I'm like, no one cares, Flanders. He's like, all right. And then just walks away. And then as they keep going, it's like, everyone's waiting for it.
Right.
And then they did this shot of people kind of being like sleeping in the middle of the night. And cut here, cut there, cut here, cut there. And then they cut to Flanders' bed, and Edna's in there. She kind of looks up at the camera and winks. And you're like,
nice.
Okay.
Okay, that's fun.
Mm-hmm. But then, again, you go farther in, and they got married. So they're living together. They're co-parenting.
They made it work.
And I was just like, this is insane. But that's so cool, you know, because it's added a new element to the story or to the overall story of the characters. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's something I didn't expect, but it's cool. Now, all of this said, as I'm sitting here heaping praise on it, there was a joke that I heard. And look, I like a good ribbing as much as the next person. I can appreciate a good joke. Sure. But this joke was downright hateful. This was mean. Okay? There was an episode where Bart got it into his head that he was going to get back at Nelson for bullying him. And to do so, he was going to kind of use the super size me method of feeding him a McDonald's or Krusty Burger for 30 days. So it's like Nelson comes up to steal the lunch money or whatever, and he's like, well, how about this? I got a coupon book for Krusty Burger, and it's like free burgers, for 30 days. And he's like, all right. So then Nelson starts chowing down on Krusty Burger for 30 days, and he turns into like a big heavy set, and he just looks terrible.
Right.
So Lisa gets involved, and she's like, oh, we got to get him some help. So they go to Krusty, and she's like, you're responsible for this. You got to give him help. And he's like, oh, all right, whatever. So he calls in his trainer, and he's like, all right, so I need you to get on this kid and get him back into shape. And he's like, Hugh Jackman Wolverine shape. And he's like, I'm not made of money. And he's like, Alicia Silverstone in Batman and Robin. He goes, that's what he looks like now. And I was like, come on. That was mean. Whoa. She was not fat. Far from it in that movie.
I'm
and
telling
I was just,
you, though, like, the standards are just kind of too ridiculous anyway.
Yeah. Ugh. So I was just, I don't know. It was a terrible joke because if you're going to say there's a comparison there, joke or not, that is an unfair comparison. And like you said, it just shows the unrealistic standards. Again, she was not in any way, shape, or form fat in that movie that I can remember at all.
Yeah, but if they're not scrawny.
But
even though they look human.
She was.
I know. I know.
I don't get it.
I never understood it either. I don't get it.
I don't get it either. Hey, what have you been playing?
Oh, well, I actually did get some gaming in this week. I finally did beat Black Sad Under the Skin, that one story game that I think I was talking about like several months ago. Never got
yeah,
around
yeah.
to beating it, where everybody is animals. It's just like they're rocking around like humans and everything else is normal. But it's based off of a comic that I was not aware of before having played it. But that was fun. Mechanics, though, was the only thing, man, that I really wish could have gotten some love. Now, to be fair to them, they say use a controller, and I just don't. But it was just real clunky. It was real clunky, and just even the way they turn and move, and it's a fixed camera, and you kind of get stuck some places because you couldn't figure out how to get them around or things like that. But the story, fun, cute, one playthrough. There's no skip function either. Like if you're getting into a scene that you've already seen before. So unfortunately, those things kills my drive for wanting to play a second time.
Yeah.
You know, like when it's heavy story games like that and choices supposedly matter. I like to skip through the stuff I'd already seen and get to stuff I had. But, sure. And then, as I mentioned last week, episode 2 for Not For Broadcast, the FMV that I was playing, released. And wow. Like the way the story went when I finally finished it was not expecting that. And at first when I was playing it, I got annoyed and I got to apologize because I got the splash screen that was like, hey, we updated lots of stuff. You can continue your old game, but some choices in like the role-playing portion might not line up. You might want to, because there is parts of the game where it's just like text and kind of like character development where it'll talk about like your family and then you get to choose because it's in a dystopian like 80s Britain. So it's kind of like you're the newsroom editor and you can kind of decide whether you're going to make it look kind of pro-government or pro whatever the resistance is, you know, in this one as the story kind of plays out. And I went through them both because I played the new stuff because they don't know that I love the game and I have like overplayed episode 1 a million times. So I just accepted the fact some of my choices wouldn't line up because I just wanted to play some of the new stuff because I played the first one so much because I just love the concept. But I did notice I did start one game completely over and I could see what they were talking about, like how the choices would line up a little dicer. I didn't feel like it was so off that it took me out of it because I wouldn't have known about the new dialogue anyway without having played the whole thing over, you know?
Right.
It would have just kind of been lost on me. But I really like it. It's early access, so that's how I calmed myself down from the first game. I'm like, I know this already. It's early access. They did warn things like this would happen. They're still working on it. Everything. Love it. I love it. I freaking love it. And I wish we could get the 3rd episode, and I totally understand, you know, because apparently in UK they went down on another more full lockdown. So at the end of each episode we've gotten so far, the developers, they're so adorable. They have like a little thank you video at the end for thank you for playing and trying to give you some sort of update on where things are at and how you can chat with them, like go to Discord or whatever, and then asking like, just so you know, I don't know when we're going to be able to get our cast and crew fully together again, but we are trying to finish it, so thank you so much for your patience and everything, as you could tell. And they still were putting out like little stuff here or there. So for the amount of content you're getting right now, guys, if it's still 20% off in early access for $15, go do it. I tell you, I think I've got a solid 8 hours right now, and they're not charging for the extra stuff that's coming in.
That's pretty good.
I'd go for it. It's just such a unique concept. I really dig it. And the way the story went with this last episode, my God, it's just going to kill me to have to wait that long. I get it, and I understand it. I want you all to be safe, but I want to finish it. I want to play it. So well done. The only thing I would nix still is the interference. They adjusted it to something completely different, which is fine. That's really my only beef with the game. I just want to nix that one feature. I don't know that it made it better the way that it is now. And that's just my own personal thing. I don't know if other people hate this function. I just hate it. I hate it. It takes me out too much, I think, because it used to be a little ball. Like, it's kind of like mini games, if you will. So if you're looking at your newsroom screen, you've got your screens, the main screen, and the screen that's getting fed to the people. And then you have your buttons to choose which screen it goes to, censoring if they use Nazi language. And then there's like another one for interference, like you got to try to adjust the screen because it's in the 80s, mind you.
Right.
So I guess like an antenna, if you will, if the screen starts to get a little fuzzy. And there would be a ball and you would just kind of move it around. You'd see like things coming and you would just move it out of the way. So if it hit the big blocks, then you'd get interference. Well, now it's a wave where you move a thing so that the waves move in the shape, you know, like jagged up and down.
Right.
I can't get it. I can't get it. Like the first one, at least it was simple enough. I didn't like it just because I had to pay attention to that, not the screens. But I actually think this is requiring much more of me paying attention than the last one was. You know, like I feel like this almost made it worse for me. So I played those sections a couple of times just to try to get a better score on the editing. And I just can't crack that nut in a fast enough time to, because as soon as it goes red, people stop watching. And I'm like, I can't keep up. I've adjusted. I saw you have a sensitivity level. I saw it. I just, I want to turn it off. It's the only part I want to turn off. I just don't like it at all. But everything else, freaking 5 stars. I love it. I'm into the story. I love how it's played. I love the unique concept of it. And go get it, guys. If you're fans of FMV, this is a unique way to play one, and I'm digging it. I just want to get rid of the interference. It's the only thing I hate. I just can't get over how much I hate it.
Fair enough.
Oh, man. And I don't want to. But, yeah. I think that's what I've been playing this week. Finished up Black Sad and the second episode of my FMV that got updated.
Alrighty.
Yeah, how about you?
Well, it's going to sound like I played a lot, but I think it was more trying different things out and finishing up a few things here and there, just as is.
Hopefully you guys don't hear that.
What am I hearing?
They just started like, my next door neighbors apparently for like the last 5 years could just never finish remodeling their house. I feel like they should have just flattened the entire thing and built a new one in a lot less time. So I just all of a sudden heard a saw. So if you hear stuff, I'm sorry, guys. They love to do it literally right outside my room. Out of all of the yard space that they have, it's always right under my window. So if you hear it, I apologize.
I'm not sure I have heard it, but I think maybe I did. I don't know. We'll see.
If you just hear a in the middle of it, it's probably me, and I apologize. I don't know what else to do.
If it's there, maybe I can make it go away.
There we
so
go.
Maybe the audience will or will not hear it. Who knows? We could be throwing you for a loop, and you're going to be looking for it like an Easter egg, and be like, I don't hear anything.
I don't hear it at all.
But I got you. That's what happened. I got you.
Because you're too pro, man.
Anyway, again, sounds like a lot, but technically, not really. So I finished Maneater because, why not?
That was your next play, right? On the PlayStation 5, though.
And you know what? I don't know what I did differently, and maybe it was just my approach was different than it was last time, but it wasn't necessarily like I breezed through it, but I got to a point where I remember struggling with, there was like a killer whale that you have to fight, like when you're close to the end. And I remember it like tore my ass up the first time I played it. And I'm sure I mentioned it here on this podcast when I reviewed the game. And this time I stomped the shit out of that thing. I don't know what happened or what I did differently, or maybe I was just better prepared than I was last time. But
yeah,
I took that thing down. It didn't even touch
It's all them
me.
extra frames you're getting now, baby.
Yeah.
Those PS5 frames.
So, yeah. I beat that, finished it, didn't have a trophy glitch like I did last time.
Nice.
Got all my trophies, so I'm good there. I tried to go back to Just Cause 4. I don't know why this game is not looking anywhere near.
You can walk away if you want.
I just don't understand what happened. Like Look, I
like
even
you
tried.
were loving it and then now you're not?
No,
or
no,
just
it's
never
just-
could get into it?
Graphically, that's the problem. The graphics, something from 4 to 5, whatever's happened. Like, I've got all the HDR settings, high quality, whatever, but it's like it downgraded in the worst possible way. Everything is so, you just have to see it. Like, there was a tornado. I don't know if you know that is a feature in the game, but there's weather and stuff that can mess with you or whatever. But I was approaching a tornado before I got into the PlayStation 5, and it looked like a tornado. Well, now it looks like a tornado, but there's a line here and then another line here. Like, you can see the rigid outline of the pixels on the tornado.
Weird.
Everything is
That's
so...
not the art style.
No, it's like everything is very, like, has downgraded. And if they could patch it or something like that, or make it, good for the play, whatever it is, the game is not running at the capacity or whatever, the high performance that it needs to on this system. It's almost like it took a step down. It's weird.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know what's happened, but I can't play it on the PlayStation 5. I just can't.
And it was fine on the 4, huh?
Yeah, it was perfectly fine. Like,
Wow,
I didn't even...
That's interesting.
Yeah. So it's weird. So because of that, and there's really not a whole lot, although there will be next month or in next few days, that game Control is supposed to be coming on the PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
I did play that. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. I played that on...
I gotta get through that one.
Did you? So you have played it?
I haven't played it. So I finally got it on PC. I don't know. It was like maybe a month or two ago on like a really good sale. So I like swiped it up with something else and I actually downloaded it. That was going to be my game to play this week until Not for Broadcast and the other one came out. So I was like, all right, I kind of want to talk about these, and then I'll get to Control, but I do want to play it. It's downloaded and ready.
Gotcha. So there's, it's coming to PlayStation 5 or it'll be part of the PlayStation Plus package this month. Or, for this month. It's February.
Yeah.
I forgot.
It is February. We just said, too.
And I think I played... It was either on Stadia or Luna. I don't remember which one had it. But I remember trying it out to see how it was going to work. And the concept seemed good enough.
Yeah.
But I wasn't committed to playing through it at that time. Because I was like, I'm not going to play this enough here.
Right.
But you give it to me on the platform that I want to play on, and I'll get to you. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then there were a few other games that were coming out where I was like, oh, yeah, I'd like to play it too, but whatever. So I was looking through my library to see if there were any games that I may want to play that I haven't played yet. I tried Crash Bandicoot because I've never played that.
Yeah.
And I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I think it probably maybe enjoyed more when it was new. I think we suffer now from having had to. I don't have the nostalgia for it.
Yeah, I think
And I
that's
guess now we're
if I
saying you
did.
didn't either if you didn't play it before.
I think if I did, maybe I would. But see, I didn't have an affinity for Spyro, but I played the hell out of that game, like the whole trilogy. I like that, but this, I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
Different strokes,
So-
different folks.
Yeah, it's not a platformer that I prefer.
Yeah.
So I could do without it. What else did I play? I did mess around. I don't want to say like I'm on a Mortal Kombat kick, but I think just to kill some time, it's an easy something like if I know I don't have time to really get anything, I just pick it up and I'm like, let's fight some.
My
people or
Slay the
whatever.
Spire.
Yeah.
Just time to fill.
I forgot, and this must have been a PlayStation Plus game recently that I've just completely forgotten about, but I downloaded Star Wars Battlefront 2, that highly controversial game. And I thought, what the hell, I'll give this a go. I wasn't there when the controversy happened. I just want to play through the story, and then I'm out. I could give a shit about playing online.
Right.
So what I've played about it or through so far, I'm just like, yeah, it's all right. So I'll probably just get through that and then walk away because I don't want to play online with anybody. I'm that
fair.
guy.
Yeah.
But then yesterday, since I was just kind of in a mood, I was trying. Yeah, I'm gonna segue into what I was doing. I was going to commit a lot of time to working on that show that I've been promising that was going to come out this year.
Yeah.
And then my computer is fighting me on it for some reason. I don't understand why.
The new one?
Yeah.
No.
I don't.
Stop it.
I'm not blaming the computer. It's the program. I don't know why the program is wanting to fight me all of a sudden.
Okay.
So I'm starting to get really, really pissed because I just want to do this, and I think that's
Right.
what's been hindering me from getting anything done. Is because every time I set foot and sit down to work on it, the program's like, nah. And so then I get discouraged because I'm frustrated with the program and I don't want to work on it.
Sure. Yeah. No,
So
that's-
if I've got to sit here and
understandable.
fight this all day. But anyway, that was a headache from yesterday. So I was like, all right, screw it. And my wife, she was watching one of her shows that she likes, and I didn't want to interrupt that. So I was like, well, I'll go into the bedroom. The PlayStation 4 is in there, so let's go see what we can do in there. And I thought about picking up and continuing Just Cause 4, but then I thought, you know what? I got the VR in here. I haven't played VR in a while. And since my TV in the bedroom, I can kind of move it and reposition it into the open space in the bedroom.
Oh,
I
look
did
at that
that.
open space in the
Yeah.
bedroom.
So I was like, all
heard of
right,
that.
you know what? Let's try this out. Let's see how this will work. So I put in the VR and I started looking. I was like, all right, so what VR games do I have? I remembered playing through Blood and Truth, which you graciously got me. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I never finished it. And I was like, you know what? Let's finish this game. I didn't realize how close to the end of the game I was.
Oh, shoot.
Because I pop in and then suddenly I'm in the middle of a gunfight, and before I knew it, it was like 3 set pieces, I guess, running through a building, shooting a bunch of people,
when
and
you're
then
on
in a
rails.
car chase, and then airplane, and then it was like you're at the end, and I'm like, what? I was like, holy crap, that didn't take long. And okay, so spoilers if you want to play it, it's been
3,
out long enough.
2,
Damn it.
1.
So you're in the airplane with the main baddie, and he was just sitting there talking, and I was just holding a gun because I was trying to, like movie style. You just kind of, it's like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? Like I'm being a tough guy. And he says, let me tell you a story. And I'm like, God damn it. And then I just sat there and thought for a second. I looked
Or
at
with
my
the guy
gun.
when he's sitting in the chair.
Yeah. I looked at my gun. I turned to the side and go, pow. I was like, huh, that went off. His mid-story, he didn't flinch. So I went, pow. And there was like, bling. I heard a trophy pop, and I was like, oh, shit, that was easy.
I think I did that the first time, too. I was just like, can I? Oh, shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I shot that son of a bitch, and then the whole plane exploded, and I was like, okay, cool.
Ending. That's one way. Yeah.
So I was glad that there wasn't a bad or a wrong or right way to do it,
Yeah.
because as soon as he's like, let me tell you a story, I was like, Jesus Christ.
But you can
man.
listen to it and do
Yeah.
something else. So you might have done that, too.
I was curious one way or the other. It was just like, I do have this gun. I don't have to sit here and listen to this crap.
Right? It's like
And
you're just buying time until whatever plan you have it'll kick in. That's
Yeah.
why I never understand why we let bad guys have their
I know, right?
monologue. It's like, no, they're just buying time. Just kill them now.
And apparently I got the trophy that I got was by sheer accident, because I liked messing with the hands, and you could do gestures and stuff like that.
Right.
I had flipped him off prior to that, and apparently it's you flip him off and then you shoot him, and I was like, cool.
Oh, so
was
a
neat.
trophy if you flip off first, then kill him, eh?
Right.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And like I said, that was sheer accident. I wasn't planning. I was just sitting there messing around, like, fuck you, dude.
See, I think those are the most fun to find.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But then since I beat that so quick,
Right?
there was nothing else. I was like, all right, well, I mean, I could have went through it again, I guess, but I thought, what else? And then I remember the Iron Man VR. I never finished that, so I was
yeah.
like, all right, well, I've got a little open space for that. Let's see what I can do with that. Played through one level of that, or one chapter, because it can get very intense.
Yeah.
especially whipping around, trying to do everything. But I got to fly around a shield helicarrier, and that was kind of neat. And what was interesting about it is, I guess, from my brain was not picking up on certain elements of depth. So I'm sitting there flying around, and I'm looking down at the helicarrier, and it's like, it's kind of big, I guess, because on the airplane, when you, like that first opening shot or one
like
level where
the
you,
wing or something.
yeah, and you're sitting there flying around in the airplane, it looked huge.
Yeah.
But then it took me a minute to kind of get in on the helicarrier and be like, all right, this is actually kind of big. But I was floating above it, and you could see the airplanes that are kind of sitting on it. And I was like, something don't look right. Like, almost like the size was off, or like they just didn't do their homework or something like that. And I'm going to fly next to that plane. It's going to be like, oh, look at that puny little plane. It's not right there. And I landed right in front of that thing, and that airplane was like full size. And I was like, oh, well, okay then. So I flew off and was like, I'm back at it. I don't know. Something in my peanut brain was just looking at it. It's like, something, it just don't look right.
It's not right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to prove that I was right. And it was like, no, this is a full-size airplane. You're just way the hell up there, and it looks
it's
small.
Just not to scale.
Yeah. I was like, all right, cool. But yeah, I messed around with that for a little bit, and that was kind of neat. But it's intense. So I can only go so long in that.
I can understand.
But yeah, I don't know what I'll be playing. It's like I said, it sounds like a lot, but it's just been kind of piddling here, piddling there.
And just a little bit time on each. I've done that. Just kind of hopped around.
Yeah.
See because what you're in the mood for.
And I think that's the problem right now. I'm just really not, I don't know what I'm in the mood for. I'm just kind of messing around.
It's been a struggle for a bit. Yeah. Yeah. I understand that one all too well, which is why I go back to Slay the Spire. And I'm like, dang it. There's just like, you could be playing something else that you've not played.
So I think I'm kind of hoping when Control comes out, which I mean, I do have some other full games that could be just as fun, but I don't know. When I look at them, I'm like, that's going to take a while.
It probably will. I don't know how long. Like, I've not looked up how long to beat and how much you can deviate from it, but I've heard it's good. And I enjoyed Alan Wake, and when I found out that it shares that universe, I'd kind of like to see if how much of the story they kind of go off of there.
Yeah. So we'll see. But hey, I'm sure you got some news, so why don't you tell me about some news?
We got a little bit of news, yeah. I mean, we may as well just get this one out of the way, because it was the one that just kind of like took over everything. And the only reason why gamers were even talking about it is just the company that ended up getting caught up in this whole mess. So I'm sure you all know about this Wall Street Bet story, man. This was nuts.
Yeah.
So, as you know, the only reason why it bled into gaming news is because they set their sights on GameStop. So I struggled to understand what was going on initially. So I feel like I've got a pretty decent understanding. Wall Street's not my bag, baby. I don't do the whole stock trading. So, it took me a minute to kind of get it. So in the off chance you don't know, a brief TLDR, there is a Reddit group that goes by Wall Street Bets, which is a group that discusses stock options and trading, which amasses over about 2.5 million people. All right. Someone described it as like 4chan found a Bloomberg terminal. So they got together and caused a pretty big shakeup in the market. Roots seem to trace back to a post made in the group on September 19th. 2020, where a Redditor by the handle Player896 posted in the channel, and I quote, "Bankrupting institutional investors for dummies," featuring GameStop, where he went on to explain his plan. And since short sellers were big on gambling against GameStop because they thought for sure it would fail, as to be fair, all of us did.
Oh, yeah.
The group got together and collectively drove the price of the shares up so high that the short sellers ended up losing billions with a B. B as in boy. Melvin Capital seemed to be the group that the sites were set on, mostly focusing because, eventually the story broke out and it wasn't just GameStop. You started seeing other ones, from like Nokia and BlackBerry, and AMC was another one that was floating up there. So Melvin Capital is a US-based hedge fund that seemed to take the biggest hits. They needed to get bailed out from two other hedge funds that went by Citadel and Point27 Asset Management Group. Gave them $2.75 billion to try to bail them out. So in the span of about 9 days,
Wow.
GME stock rose over 1,800% from about $20 a share to $380. And then, like I was just saying, BlackBerry, AMC, Nokia, and Bed Bath & Beyond. So then, of course, it turned into, it wasn't just gaming at that point, and GameStop just kind of ended up getting inadvertently involved in this. So it's been a fascinating read, honestly, and I learned way more about hedge funds than I really understood before. And yes, I did watch The Big Short.
Yeah.
Okay. Our
We
big
all did.
documentary from, the States on how all that works, right? Or The Wolf of Wall Street. We have our documentaries. But honestly, though, it's the most on-brand GameStop story I've ever heard. When you're buying something from GameStop only to sell it back for like way less. So on brand.
Yeah.
Oh, the memes have been great. But the rest of this story kind of deviates into the more economy and not gaming related. So just wanted to bring it up because it's crazy, man.
Yeah.
GameStop, they're sitting around going, I don't, what's happening?
What's funny, and I'm sure you've heard people saying this, are the people who don't get it, and they're just like, man, we got to get it on this GameStop thing. It's like,
Yeah.
no. It's too late. As
Yeah.
far as I'm concerned, I was like, if you jump in now, you're asking
way
to lose
overpaying.
money. Yeah, I said, you're not going to get what you think you're going to get. I said, unless you were in on the ground floor, which I'll be honest with you, long before this happened, I had considered GameStop stock.
Right.
But it was the idea that, like you just said, I didn't know if it was going to last. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I don't want to buy into a company that's going to lose money.
Well, they keep closing locations
Yeah.
by the hundreds and all this kind of stuff. So, I mean, this is going to break. It's going to pop. I
Yeah.
mean, it's...
And yeah, that's what I'm waiting for too, because for me, it was just like, yeah, it would be great, but had I known about this ahead of time, sure, I would have plopped some money in just to see. But
Right.
before then, it was just, we're looking at this company that's future is it going to last? Is it not? Who knows?
Unless they make some huge jump into digital somehow, yeah.
Yeah. So it just seemed extremely volatile. This now is extremely volatile. And all these people who are just like, we got to get in on it now. No. Don't.
Yeah, that time has passed.
Yeah, you're long overdue. Just because it's happening now, unless you were in on it, you're not going to make any
Yeah.
money.
Unless you paid that $19.79.
Yeah.
And of course, to be fair, like we're talking about this on Monday. I don't know what the bell brought this morning, and
Yeah.
obviously I don't have the clairvoyance to know what it's going to close out on Monday night. But that they're trying to hold the line, so we'll see. I say just keep an eye on it just because it's interesting. I don't know that it'll encompass any more gaming news past this because it's not its focus at all. They just happen to grab up GameStop stock and go from there. We did get a little bit of an update on the Riot Games lawsuit. Which one? I
okay.
know there's been
Yeah.
so many, but this one was the class action lawsuit. If you remember, we reported, I think it's been well more than a year ago now, probably 2, where Riot Games was in a lawsuit, obviously over how women have been mistreated and discriminated against inside their doors, and tried to offer a settlement that the state of California stepped in and went, that's too low. If you remember that one, where even California was like, there's no way you're going to try to just pay these people this amount and go about your life. So after 2 years of negotiations, Riot Games is hoping to persuade the women in the lawsuit to maybe try individual secret arbitrations instead.
No.
Because just like they can't get enough bad press. So plaintiffs' counsel said in a statement, and I quote, even after the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing and the Division of Labor Standards Enforcement opposed the initial settlement, Riot Games continued to engage in talks while we spent time, effort, and money on experts to determine a fair settlement. So still trying to undermine to pay less. So reading on it, it seems that since Riot knows it can't settle this for cheap, because the state has already told you that's not going to happen, it's now trying to force the women into arbitration, which could prevent the women from fighting together within this class action lawsuit. So that would make them all their own little individual settlement and break them out of this. So
I thought that's why they even did this to begin with. Because they were trying to force this to begin with. Oh, Jesus.
They just, I don't know. I fail to understand what they're trying to do anymore. But if the courts actually play along with this portion, it will have wasted all of these years of efforts that the women have just been seeking justice and fair treatment within Riot. So they're still garbage. Nothing has changed, it seems. So now we're keeping an eye on that. I have faith they're not going to get away with it because if California already said years ago that you're way lowballing what they went through and how you're planning on making it up to them. So I don't see how this is going to fly. I almost feel like it would just piss them off more. We've already given you warning 2 years ago, and then now you're trying to do this again. But it's going to be now a wait and see what happens after this point. So I don't know. I think California should just tell them to pay them all as much as humanly possible at this point, since you keep just not wanting to play along and do the right thing here and just be like, you know what? I hope they just get that judge on a bad day that's like, you know what? We've been messing around with you for far too long, and you're not getting it through your thick head what the problem is here. So, billions. What are you worth? What can you keep just to keep yourself open? That's all you get.
Yeah,
but this might just be me going off the handle now because I'm so sick of seeing Riot doing this crap.
No, I understand. I feel like they're gaslighting them at this point. It's just like, why do you continue to keep doing this crap? Just do what you're told.
Just do the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, for God's sakes, all you're doing, you want to, it's a power thing. Goes right back to the mentality that started this crap to begin with. It's like, I ain't going to have a woman tell me what to do. She's a lesser thing, so I'm just going to gaslight her ass until it's fuck Riot.
Yeah, for real at this point, because it's like I feel like you're spending way much more time and effort to not do the right thing than it would have taken you to just do the right thing. I feel like you're spending way more anyway. But that's the update. So I never really bought into Riot Games. That just for no other reason than it just didn't appeal to me. Now I don't know that there ever will be, even if one does look interesting. I'm kind of done with it. We've been doing this for years.
No, they can go straight to hell. And I will never, ever support them. Ever.
It's just getting ridiculous. Ever. But how about we trash Cyberpunk a little bit more? Huh?
Sure.
No.
Why not?
Why not? No, not really. This one isn't really trashing Cyberpunk, but it is back in the news. And at least this time it's not something CDPR did, but the community, actually. We all know modders love to change things about their games. Either they want it aesthetically pleasing a different way. Sometimes they might tweak how the game behaves a little bit. Just, it's fun. Modders are going to mod. Well, this time they modded in Keanu Reeves. Yeah, he's in the game, but now he's one of the sex workers, so you can just have all sorts of sex with Keanu Reeves if you want. Or Johnny Silverhand, I guess I should say more specifically.
But the reason was Keanu.
Yeah, it was well, let's be real, right? So
come on.
Yes, they created a mod. So they have the sex workers, or joy toys, I think is what it's called in the game. So now you just mod them in as a workable joy toy. But CDPR is asking you to maybe not do that. And they say our most important rule regarding user-generated content, game mods in particular, is that it can't be harmful towards others. So in the case of model swaps, especially those that involve explicit situations, it could be perceived as such by the people who lent us their appearance for the purpose of creating characters in the game, not for your sexy times. So therefore, when making fan content, creators have to make sure they've got permission from all concerned parties for the likeness of their game. So they're like, yeah, you could tweak it for fun, but this could be lawsuit area problems anyway. So I guess as long as the character isn't famous, go all ham is what I kind of get from this. Like we don't want you to use him explicitly, but like, I mean, you got all these other ones in the game.
I mean, yeah.
Go for. Oh, and they also patched the game and then broke it again. So that was another piece of news. I didn't really feel like we needed to go into any more detail of them patching and breaking something else. I'm sure it'll get fixed.
Sounds about like Fallout 76 at this point.
I fix something else breaks and it's bad. And apparently this one actually like broke a story mission part. So thankfully I was already well past all that, because they were like, well, if you're past it, you're fine. But if you're in a game where it does it, that one's effed unless you can find a save from prior to that happening. So I don't know. I think if you've beaten it, just let it sit for a while now. Just don't download, don't touch it, don't do nothing. Let your game be. And then in a year we'll be good. Hey. There were some more rumors going around this week. I think it's kind of been floating for a while, but maybe you might like it. A new Knights of the Old Republic has finally been getting some more teeth in this rumor about one actually being in development. And I feel like I saw this over the last couple weeks, but didn't take much stock in it at the time. Because again, I feel like I've heard KOTOR rumors for so long. But now with the revival of Lucasfilms, or what used to be LucasArts, now Lucasfilms, did announce that it would be licensing to other companies. We already know Ubisoft has one, so KOTOR looks to have been handed off to another outside EA dev. Right now in the article from Jason Schreier, all they'll say is, we'll never guess who. So nobody's saying who the developing team is that has been working on this. But apparently it's not as mysterious as you think. It's just a household name most people are aware of and wouldn't think in this capacity. So time will tell. So now I'm curious from these leakers, unless they're pulling my leg, like who in the hell could it be that I wouldn't expect to be doing a Knights of the Old Republic?
So a solid developer, but not wouldn't be known
apparently
for this.
Yeah. That's the only... So Nate Najda of Wushu Studios, who apparently is really well known for leaking good information. That was all they said. It's not as mysterious as you think. It's just not a household name most people are aware of. Like, in that regard.
I got you.
So now I'm just like racking my brain. So that might be interesting now. I'm more interested now that I see them going away from EA.
Yeah.
Because the competition in this space could be cool.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, I'm not even that huge of a Star Wars fan, and I'm excited for this because competition in the space is always good. It's always a good thing.
And think about it like this. The fact that Lucasfilm Games is out there going, who wants a Star Wars game? Who wants to make a Star Wars game? And they're like, me. This is your this is your chance to prove that you are capable of doing so. And if you succeed, you get another one. If you fail, they'll be like, nah, I'll take this over here.
Hell, it might be even more picky on the pitches, too.
And that is what's going to make this so great. And hopefully it will drive creativity up for these games, and we're not just going to get middling titles.
For your money.
Oh, my God. I'm so excited.
Yeah. No, I'm excited for y'all, too. And who knows, I might be stepping in on some of them.
Who knows?
If the concept and the story and everything looks fun, I'm all about it, Want to feel old?
Again?
I know, right? Well, I might have just the thing for you. So let's see here. Crystal Dynamics has plans for Tomb Raider's 25th anniversary. 25 years. Believe it or not, yes. Laura has been raiding the tombs for almost 25 years now. And Crystal Dynamics has plans for this. Firstly, though, they want to unify the timelines of the franchise, which I find interesting. While no major game announcements have been made as of yet, there are in the works and planning on something that is going to unify the trilogies of old with the trilogies of new, and make those timelines fit. So that's all I know about that one, because they're not giving you too much, because they, even in the article I was reading, it sounds like they're like, yeah, this isn't easy.
Yeah.
So there's still, it's probably going to be a minute, but we just wanted to let you know we are working on a way to unify all of these timelines so it makes sense. So yeah, we're going to go from 96, Angel of Darkness, to the 2006 and onward. So
okay,
filling in those that gap there, it looks like.
Did you? I know it's an older game, and just while you're on the subject, did you ever play Shadow of the Tomb Raider?
The see, now I'm gonna get them confused. Is that the old one?
I feel like that's
I
the
played
last...
all of the new ones and one of the old ones.
No, this was like the last entry in the new series.
Yes, then. I've played all the 3 of the newer ones.
Was it good?
I liked it.
Okay.
I mean, I honestly, between them all, the only thing that's really different is just whatever the overarching story is for that one. But this one kind of continued through. So I know this is going to sound like a BS answer, but if you like the first one, you'll probably like all of them because they play the same.
Okay.
They tweak the mechanics a little bit and maybe like a different upgrade on things that you could do from the second to the third and so on. But yeah, I enjoyed the whole trilogy.
Well, I felt like I remembered Shadow of the Tomb Raider being maligned for some reason, but I couldn't remember why. And I know I have it. I think it was one of the games on the PlayStation Plus, and I was going to download it, when I was trying to decide what to play, but I don't know. I hesitated.
Yeah, I don't recall feeling like any of that. I feel like the stories all from the last 3 matched up really well because it was kind of one bigger one.
Gotcha.
Because we're always talking about her dad and all that
yeah.
stuff, So, but I mean, I liked them. Yeah, if you've got it, play it. I'm sure you'll enjoy it just for what it is once through. I never felt the need to pick it up again. Let's see. Oh, and also, so today, I guess February 1st is when the official celebrations start. So, and the same article I was reading also pointed us to a Netflix Tomb Raider anime that's in the works. According to Netflix, the anime will be a sequel to the most recent reboot of the series, and of course follows Lara as she does all the Tomb Raider-y things. Written by Tasha Howe, who is also working on the Witcher Blood Orange live-action spinoff. All right. And for you, Steven, there's also a King Kong anime spinoff happening of Kong Skull Island, which will just be titled Skull Island. It was in the same thing, so I didn't know if you knew. I figured you did, but I would just let you know. So,
I saw it and I was like, all right, more Kong.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, and that Netflix is getting some interesting little grabs here, so it'll be an interesting year.
Just like Michael Corleone said, as soon as I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Because every time I think, what do I watch on this service? Nothing. And then I really think about it, and I was like, okay, so maybe I watched Sabrina, but it's over now.
Yeah.
Or maybe I watched Orange Is the New Black, but it's over now.
Yeah.
And I keep thinking of something I had watched, and now it's done.
Yeah.
So what's keeping me there? Nothing.
They have to keep doing this.
I could wash my hands of it, and then this happens. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. No, I think they're especially now they're gonna have to pull out all them stops, man. Really and truly, because I think. Well, deviating, but I still think that's the problem with dropping your entire seasons at once.
Look, depends on what it is.
Weekly coming back, that's another thing, but you let us binge it in a weekend and we could just cancel and be done. I don't
Yeah. No, it's like right now with using WandaVision as an example, that's oh my God. That's like good. With The Mandalorian, it was fine. Like you still felt like you wanted more, but the story was done. But this, oh my God, it's just like, I want it all right now.
I do too. I'm enjoying it. And see, now you're getting from 2 different sides because Steven, huge fan, all his life, read the comics, deep in the lore, gets it. I'm just a fan of certain mediums that come out, like the movies and things like that. So if you're like me, you'll love it. If you're like Steven, you'll love it. See, there's stuff to love. You don't have to be deep in the lore. You'll probably enjoy it more. Because you'll get the little nods and stuff like that goes over my head until the Hubs explains it to me. But I'm still enjoying it.
See, you sound like well, not so much, but kind of like Kevin Smith was talking about him and his wife.
Oh, yeah?
He said that, like, you at least, you have kind of an interest in it. It's not like deep lore interest, but you have an interest. Like you've watched some of the movies and you're like, oh yeah, I want to watch this. Like she has no interest in the shit whatsoever. Oh, yeah. And of course he's like a huge comic book nerd like me. And he was saying that when WandaVision came out, she actually did want to watch it. But he said that he had watched episode 1, or I guess the first 2 episodes or whatever, early in the morning when it first released. And then the next day, she actually wanted to watch it. So he was just sitting there like, she'd be like, well, what is this? And he was like, pause, well.
Right?
He'd just whip out his
give him
knowledge.
a reason to talk? Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's in heaven.
Oh, yeah. So the fact that she's even cares is like, oh, my God, I just love this even more.
Yeah. No, when he gets into a certain piece of lore, I'll sit there and listen. I could tell he's excited for it. And not only that, it does actually help me enjoy a piece of information a little bit more. Now, granted, I wouldn't have known about it. It would have just flown on by. But just to see those little nods and appreciation and stuff along the way, sure, that's fun. So.
I did notice one interesting little aspect of this last episode where they were writing questions down on the board. There was one thing that got brought up, and it's like they pointed it out, but also kind of glossed over it. Was it the hexagons? What does the hexagon mean? Was it the hexagon? Or it was a shape. Like they were focusing in on a shape. It's like, what does this mean? And I was like, that's true. If you go back and look at the openings of or even the endings, there's a shape. A very specific
Well, don't
shape.
they say really good writing? Like if you think you know what's happening, that means that they've done a really nice job of just slowly kind of filtering it to you through the whole time. So you think, oh, I know where this is going. Well, it's because they kind of gently led you there, hopefully without your knowledge, but planting the seeds.
I think by the end of it, like all these theories that people have, they're good. But something tells me they've got a nice big smack in the face waiting for you that you're not even going to expect, because I commend however they've been doing this with Disney Plus shows, because The Mandalorian has just blown my mind how silent all these rumors and leaks have been. Like, use Baby Yoda, for example, or Grogu.
Yeah.
No one knew shit about this. So when that episode dropped and we're watching it, and you get to the end, you're like, what?
See, this is why I don't understand why people enjoy spoilers and stuff like that. Like that moment you wouldn't have had. Remember how you felt in that moment? You know what I
blew
mean?
my mind.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Because it just, I didn't know what to.
Yeah.
The thing. He's a little
Take
thing.
that
He's
away from
like
yourself, people.
Yeah, he's
Don't
like a
do it.
little thing.
So cute. So
And
cute.
it's just, I want to, what?
I remember, I think the next day you sent me a GIF or a picture or a still
Yeah.
shot or something, and I'm like, what is this? Why? And you're like, oh my God. Why is this so cute?
Yeah, I love that feeling, and I wish people would just. You don't have to. Why do you want to suck the joy out of everything?
I know. I don't know. We live in a strange timeline. Really do. Let's see. Last little bit of like news. Let's say Microsoft's moves last year seems to have paid off. As reportedly shown, Xbox's revenue rose 51% for the first fiscal period, which is up from the same time last year of the same quarter, or the year prior of the same quarter, which everybody, a lot of video game things have taken a huge uptick, since we're all stuck at home, and a lot of people still are. This is the first earnings for Microsoft since it launched the X and S on consoles in November. So the release made the hardware sales up 86%. Which actually could have been higher if it weren't for shortages that, both consoles suffered from. But since content and services rose 40%, which is driven by third-party sales, remember all those nice little games and acquisitions that Microsoft got a hold of, which they obviously get a cut for every time it's sold on their storefront. Game Pass subscriptions went up. First-party sales went up. So across all business units, Microsoft pulled in $43.1 billion in revenue for the period, which is up 17%, and posted a profit of $15.5 billion. So it seems the $7.5 billion they threw at ZeniMax worked out.
Good. I guess.
I mean, we were like, it was one of the biggest acquisitions, especially in gaming. Anyway, and I know that that's not exactly like how money works. I'm sure there's like liquid assets and all this kind of stuff that goes way into the weeds that I don't know if that billion equals 1 billion in cash money, but Still looks like at least twice over they're doing okay. But there is still other acquisitions that are being rumored coming around. So I think by the end of this year into early mid next, I think we're going to hear another rumor about another big buy. It's just so much is floating around there. So we'll see. It's probably just going to be like Microsoft and Sony against the world.
Right.
and I'm a little sad about that, especially when we just got done talking about competition and all that. But we'll see. Hopefully they just don't kill one of your favorites, as they've been known to do. Let's see. I have a few quickies.
Okay.
Outside of that, I'll just get the sad one out of the way right away. Resident Evil Village actress Jeanette Mouse unfortunately passed away this week at the age of 39, lost a battle with colon cancer. Heartfelt condolences to the family, man. This is just, it's horrible to hear. Her likeness and voice will be and is in the what will be the most recent Resident Evil when it gets released. If you watch the trailer, she is one of the vampire witches. Not the big lady that everybody was obsessed with. She was one of the other ones, and has lent her voice to various other Resident Evil games and franchises in her life. And it's just heartbreaking to see such a talent at such a young age for cancer. Just but condolences to the family on that one, and glad to see that at least that likeness will still be able to live on, and something that she loved to do. So
absolutely.
Not much more I can say of that, but there is a little bit more of Resident Evil news. In the showcase that Capcom had, came with the announcement of the Japanese complete collector's edition version. Did you hear about this one?
I did not. So
with this bundle, you get the game, an art book, 4 original postcards, a set of 1 out of 6 miniature collectibles that I don't even know what all 6 would be, but 1 of 6, and a Chris Redfield figurine, like a pretty decent size. So, I mean, we're getting a pretty hefty size bundle here, and a very special, totally wearable Chris Redfield coat. Nice big, I think it said medium, which in Asian cultures means like extra, extra small for America. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Keep that in mind. I've ordered large from there, and my left leg wouldn't even go through. So read the dimensions. But this whole bundle will only run you, let's see the game. Oh yes, $1,800. Yeah. So if you've got $1,800 to throw around, or 192,500 yen, this can be yours.
No.
That coat better keep me like insanely warm, you know? Like, I feel like haven't they done this before?
Yeah.
Some ridiculous
similar.
bundle with one of their jackets or something that costs like a couple grand also. I feel like this isn't a new thing that they do. So,
No.
I don't know if you could buy it here, but however many of those that you could find, it was limited, and the GG, I guess, best wishes if you're out for that. Intel made some big moves. Exciting for me anyway, and probably anybody into the tech world, but it was granted $500 million to boost funding out of Intel products in Vietnam. So one of the biggest centers where they do the production of all of the CPU cards and all of that. Its primary function is assembling the Intel chips. Okay. So with this boost, they are making bigger moves to more complex designs and better GPUs. So for me, I'm just excited to see what kind of technology comes out of that, because they're already making some really cool ones to kind of compete, because this whole with AMD kicking up now and really starting to take off, and actually the pretty good competitor, if not better, on some of them. They're really, I need to look into them more, because the way they do their measurements for everything is so much different that I have to really sit down side by side with AMD and Intel and like really figure out the differences there. But hey, bigger, better cards, which could go for consoles and everything too, because those are just computers now too, as you all know, just in a smaller form. Let's see. Apparently, Elon Musk's new Tesla Model S refresh can run Cyberpunk.
Oh, well.
Yeah, so the center screen in this car boasts 10 teraflops of processing power, which is comparable to the PS5. Just saying. Musk also claims it has more storage and easily upgradable. So if you cannot find an Xbox S or X, or you can't find a PS5, guys, just go frickin' buy a Tesla.
There you go. Yeah. Go get a Tesla to play a buggy ass game.
Show those scalpers you will not be had. I will not pay you for this console. I'm going to buy a Tesla.
Yep.
Just saying.
Screw
All
you
right.
guys.
And this was just a mention because I thought it was an interesting article. I'm not going to go into huge things, so something maybe if you guys want to read it. But Jason Schreier always does have some pretty good ones. Had a really interesting article on why he felt Amazon just wasn't able to make it in the games industry. I know we floated their ideas back and forth and certain games that they've worked on that's been canceled, canned, all of this kind of stuff. And they just can't seem to crack the code on making games. I'm not sad about it. I feel like they have enough. But Amazon Game Studios, after 8 years, and all they came up with was 2 bad games that none of us even really remember. So it's just an interesting read. Like if you want to go to that Bloomberg News article about why they just felt they couldn't quite bust in, and I don't want them to be fair. I feel like he owns enough, but
yeah. What games?
Exactly. That I didn't even remember what they were. So I know that there was an MMO. I'm trying to remember the name of it now. I should have looked it up and wrote it down at the end of this article, but I do remember there being an MMO. And hold on, let me see.
You've already lost me at MMO.
Yeah,
That's why
it was called New World. Here we go. So initial release date, now it's been pushed to 2021. So I guess they're still trying this one here. It looks like another MMO. I'm not going to lie to you when I'm looking at these screenshots and everything. I should read more into it. I feel like I've read about it off and on for the last year or so, and I just never saw anything more happening with it. So I was just like, it's not going to go anywhere. I guess they're still trying it. I honestly thought it got canned already. But so that maybe if it comes out, we'll see how that game goes.
Sure, why not?
And last quicket that I have, we've been talking about the return of G4. We've seen them kind of teasing it and throwing it out there and doing all this stuff. So it does look like it's returning as a weekly series on Twitch and YouTube. B4G4 made its debut on Friday, so the 29th. And it looks like, they'll streaming that there on those two. And it'll be original sketches, musical parodies, game reviews, and of course the ever promised more. So it's always this, and more. So if you want to check them out, you can go follow twitch.tv/G4TV or youtube.com/G4TV. And whenever they push out content, there you go. So it looks like it's back up and running, just not on a regular station.
Well, I might sniff around.
Yeah, if it has to bring some of the old people back, I think I might be interested for a hot minute. I liked the channel. I thought it was fun.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, until they started showing cops every other hour or whatever.
I just have to start filling stuff.
Yeah. Hey, I got a teensy-weensy little quickie.
Oh, yeah. Do it.
Mortal Kombat trailer this month. I don't know when, but February is what was said.
What we're being told.
So we could get it tomorrow.
Ooh.
It could be out today.
Or later today, for all we know.
Who knows? I'm going to assume it'll be a Tuesday.
I feel like I don't know anymore.
Yeah.
Games used to be consistently Tuesday. Now I see Wednesdays and Fridays, and it's whenever now.
It could be Sunday. We got that Godzilla Kong trailer on a Sunday. Why? Who knows? I don't know.
I guess what is time anymore, really, though?
Just whatever we want it to be.
It's ready, put it out there, done. Mm-hmm. And you know what? That's fine. Why do we need all this buildup? Just be like, oh, here we go. But this is when we find out what fun headliner we got today. What are we learning about?
So I've been really trying to, not that I want to I guess I'm trying to find a way to keep it fresh or shake things up, or you know, that way I'm not repeating things week to week. Like I had an idea, which I thought was a very solid idea for this week, and I did some research. But then I thought, you know what? No. I'm gonna wait, and I'm gonna save that one for a later date, because I feel like that'll kind of. We'll come back around to it, you know. That way, if you're paying attention, be like, oh yeah, let's see what you're doing here. So, I was trying to think of something else, and I actually had to look to make sure that I haven't talked about this before, because there was something in the back of my head. I was like, did I talk about this? Did I talk about this? No, I don't think I did. Maybe I did. I don't know.
Yeah, so many years of stories. Now we're like, are we sure?
I couldn't remember. So, even if I have talked about it, I would say I haven't talked about it in this capacity.
Okay.
But I'm almost positive I haven't talked about this game. But we'll get into it. So, as we mentioned earlier in this show and recently in the news, Lucasfilm Games is making a comeback. Now, as far as in what capacity, as far as I know, it's just a branding thing, like a licensing brand. So Disney's kind of in control, but it's more like, here's our brand, here's our game or property, and we'll give it to you, and then you can kind of do whatever with it.
Back in the day, like how you used to make good stuff, do that again.
Right, just do that. So some of you out there may be saying, comeback. What do you mean comeback? You may not even remember Lucasfilm Games. You may only remember it as LucasArts, which actually only technically folded back in 2013, although it feels like a lifetime ago.
It really does. Well, I mean, they kind of like stopped making games.
Yeah.
You know, because of the whole debacle, but as you were.
And you know what? Maybe we could do a deep dive into that at some point, but not today. Not today. So I felt like it would be an honor of Lucasfilm Games returning. It might be fun to look back at one of the studio's most highly revered and possibly overlooked classics. Okay. Now, it's hard for me to say that sometimes, because for me, I know it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that game. Yeah, that's a great game. But then I have to remember, I'm old.
It's true.
And you can remaster and put out new versions of games for a new audience, and they're going to be like, what is that? I don't want to play that.
Heck, we because it's 10 years for some now, and they're like, I didn't play this garbage.
Yeah. I mean, this game is not Fortnite. So maybe, who knows? Like I said, I could be speaking out of my ass. Maybe everyone knows what this game is.
Okay.
But
now you got me curious if I do or not.
Yeah, I'm towing a line. I'm going to assume not a lot of people know it because it's old.
Okay.
But it's a classic. So depending on what age group you're in, that's another thing. I have to remember. There are kids out there who don't know some of the things that I know.
Just think, they were born in 2000. They're 21 now.
Right. They're just now 21.
Just now old enough, well, in the States, to drink.
Sure.
You know, insert your country's age
I've
here.
Been allowed to drink for 20 damn years. And I have not taken an opportunity not to. Anyway.
And I have used it.
So, anyway, back in the golden age of 1989, see, that's still 10 years from the thing.
You were born.
Two gentlemen by the name of Dave Grossman and Tim Schafer happened to meet by sheer happenstance. They were applying for the same job at Lucasfilm Games, and both got a position. So they spent their early days with the company working with play testers, trying to make sure that they've got all their games right, and they would also dive into various writing exercises, which kind of, hone their skills to see what they could possibly do and kind of impress certain people, which actually led them to be understudies for the, again, for me, legendary Ron Gilbert. If you don't know who that is, go do your research. Maybe I'll have to do a deep dive on him too. At the time, Ron Gilbert was best known for Maniac Mansion. But
It's the first
when
thing
Grossman,
I saw pop up. So I'm like, why do I know the name?
but when Grossman and Schaefer joined his team, he was actually getting ready to start on The Secret of Monkey Island. So he's got some games behind him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now over the next 4 years, they honed their skills and learned all they could from Ron Gilbert. So after the release of Monkey Island 2, Ron Gilbert said farewell. I don't know where my mouth went. It was trying to get away from me. He said farewell to the now LucasArts, because during this timeline there was a shift in the names for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, we're going to have to do a deep dive to figure out why they did it.
What's going on?
But before he left, he did bestow upon the duo a blueprint for the sequel to his much-beloved game. But nothing was really set in stone. This was just kind of a starting line for their careers to change, and they had a path to go down. So you take the base idea of what they had, you create something in the vein of Maniac Mansion, but you make it your own. Now, if you're wondering, because I'm starting to get distracted, there is some asshole right outside my house bumping his music. Why he needs to have it so loud, I don't know.
We both must have better microphones than we think.
Maybe. I can
didn't
hear
hear my saw. I can't hear your bumping.
But damn if it's not loud. And it's distracting me. It's what it's doing. I'm sitting here talking and I'm just getting distracted because I hear boom, 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 boom. How deaf do you have to be?
I don't know. I don't get it either. Well, you're gonna be if you keep listening to it like that.
Right?
It's probably why.
Oh my
Because you
God.
kept listening to it too loud. Now you can't hear it.
I'm sorry, people.
We're old. We have to complain about kids these days.
Seriously.
That's our rite of passage.
So I'm going to continue to get through this because that's really starting to get on my nerves. And it's never been a problem recording. So whatever the hell this guy's doing right now.
On Monday morning, shouldn't they be?
Christ. Anyway, so again, the idea, take the idea, run with it, make something your own in the vein of Maniac Mansion, but do something that's yours. That was kind of what Gilbert encouraged them to do. He said, don't copy anything from the original game. Just take the idea and do something different with it. So it was a daunting challenge if you think about it, but it was one they were kind of eager to tackle because they were fans. But how do you make a sequel to a beloved game and attempt to top it without copying it? Now, it's not as easy as you might think. First off, Grossman and Schaefer had always loved the idea of a variety of characters in the games because it kind of changed things. It mixed up gameplay. And in fact, that was one of the elements to Maniac Mansion that was its most revered trait, was the increased replayability of having a new set of characters you could choose to get through the game.
Yeah.
In fact, I couldn't remember another game at the time when I played it that was like that, because whoever you picked, it changed the entire dynamic of how you played. So if you didn't have someone who could do this or someone who could do that.
But that was the beauty of it too, because there was all these different ways that it could be finished. Yeah.
Exactly. So, however, whatever.
You also could get stuck and not finish it. That was the beauty of those games too. You effed something up.
Now, as ideas became more fleshed out and costs began to rise, the duo kind of made a decision to fixate on 3 characters, each with their own skill set and traits. That way, as good as that would have been, or interesting as that may have been, 3 just seemed a little bit better and limited to work their story out in a better way, which I actually think worked to its advantage. Question is, who are these characters? Who are they going to be? Now, while making decisions to incorporate certain returning characters, since this was supposed to be a follow-up, they did choose to incorporate Dr. Fred and his family, as well as the Tentacles, who would actually become the focal point of the story. Grossman and Schaefer then looked to the other characters and chose Bernard to be their lead character. Now, one might think, why would you choose the nerd out of the bunch?
Right.
Because he's not leading man material. He's the nerd. They called him a tuna head or whatever in the game.
Whatever the insults were, yeah.
Believe it or not, from polls, I guess that they did, or however they tracked it at the time.
Right? Sending them postcards.
Yeah. Bernard was actually Maniac Mansion's most used and popular character.
Well, I could see why.
Oh yeah, because he had all the skills.
Yeah, he could fix stuff. You always sent him in and he could take care of it, yeah. Because, I mean, nobody wanted the boyfriend. You were just always stuck with the boyfriend.
Yeah. No, he was
he was the only one you couldn't swap out.
Yeah, he was
It was just because it was his girlfriend who was abducted, so he had to go. But
gotta go
he
get
didn't
my
really...
girlfriend.
He is the one I always kept by the mailbox.
Yeah.
To look for the package.
and
that was his use to me. Or pulled the gargoyle so I could get in the basement, you know.
Mm-hmm. And what the hell? I mean, he couldn't go in and do it on his own?
No.
Not brave enough, dude?
Well, you needed to for some of them. Like, you needed to be upstairs to distract the one guy so they could ring the doorbell and then go steal the package. And then you'd run upstairs. And anyway, I'm digressing. Go ahead.
No. I understand. Now, while those characters, Dr. Fred and his family, and Bernard would be kind of a connective thread to the original game, additional characters, Laverne and Hoagie, would be original creations that allowed Grossman and Schaefer to kind of put their own stamp on the game and some of their own wit and humor, as it were. But it didn't stop there, as the narrative structure that they devised really allowed the duo to shine. Now, following up years after Maniac Mansion, the green tentacle reaches out to Bernard for help after the purple tentacle ingests some goo that transforms him into a power-mad dictator. Now, I'm not 100% sure why this is how the story begins, because I don't remember Bernard becoming best pals with the green tentacle. In fact, I thought anytime he saw them, he ran. Like if you walked into the room, you know. So I don't know. But whatever. It sets the stage. Yeah. Now from there, Bernard, Laverne, and Hoagie head to Dr. Fred's mansion to kind of help lend a hand, as it were. However, their interference allows the purple tentacle to be unleashed onto the world. But Dr. Fred has a plan. He's going to send the trio back in time to prevent the escape. And with that, you can see the trope in which the game is built around. Time travel. Who knew?
Yeah.
Now, where Maniac Mansion had kind of a variety of puzzles locked behind the skills of certain characters, as we were kind of mentioning before, this game would actually use time travel to build its puzzles around. As each character enters the time machine, or as they call it in the game, chronojohns, they are sent to different points in time, thereby allowing puzzles to be solved through time. So what happens in one timeline affects another timeline, which can help or hinder the other characters. So I always kind of like that in games.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, there's a game, I'm going to go off on a slight tangent here, because we're talking about time travel, but it's really cool. What I always loved, there was a game called Chrono Trigger. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. SNES, I'm sure it's been re-released on whatever consoles here and there, but time travel is an element. And to a degree, granted it wouldn't be these gigantic leaps, but to a degree, there are certain things you could do in past events or in past times that would affect the going back to a timeline later on. And I always found that fascinating. I was like, oh my God, because I did that one thing, this is happening here. Oh my God.
Right.
And if I hadn't done that,
totally made this happen.
Yeah. And I've always wished that Square Enix would go back to that well and play around with that. Like, they don't have to turn it into big sprawling adventure or whatever. Just, you can keep it 2D or like an old school RPG, but really infuse a lot of those elements of time travel so you can just spread through time, you know? That would, for me, I would love for a developer to do that. Like a really, really intense, very intricate time travel game of some kind. I don't know what it would be, but that would be so cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, I want to talk about that real quick.
You gotta pitch it, man. Somebody pick it up.
Not only doing these time travel puzzles and whatnot, you have these very wild and eccentric characters in different time periods, and that allowed for numerous humorous. I just came up with that. Numerous humorous elements that could be written in and played with. In fact, the developers encouraged you in some way, I guess, in the game to screw around with it and everything. Like they wrote comedy gold for you to play with. Go uncover it.
Go play around.
Go mess around. See it all.
Click the stuff. Yeah.
On top of that, wait a minute. Did I get? Yep. Okay. I almost. That looked like a sentence I wrote. On top of that, the ability to swap characters at any point in time allowed players to move along in the game should they get stuck on a puzzle. Now, granted, you could do that in Maniac Mansion. You could swap between characters at any point in time. But the way this kind of worked, I mean, you weren't necessarily hinging on a character to, like, you didn't have to go so far with one character and then be like, well, now I got to go do this with it. I mean, at some point, it'll kind of intertwine through time. But if you get stuck on a puzzle, you can go to somebody else and be like, all right, well, what could I do with this guy? And kind of move things along, which is kind of a neat way to go about it. That way you're not stuck with all three going, I don't know what to do. It's like, well, if you're stuck here, give it a minute, go mess around with this one, and maybe you'll figure it out before you get back. Now, with various settings and unique characters, this kind of helped remove any possibility of staleness in the game. But one thing I've yet to mention was the overall game design. Now, if you've ever seen Maniac Mansion's design, I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't really anything remarkable. In fact, me personally, based on, I mean, it's probably a little biased, but I was actually more of a fan of the NES design, more than I was any kind of PC version.
You know what? I originally played it on the NES. That was before I actually had a PC.
Yeah.
So
I know they had kind of big heads.
It was built for that, though. You could tell just from
sure,
it was built for using a mouse, not a trying to move an arrow with a directional pad. Yeah.
But anyway, this game actually took the design aesthetic a step further and really, really made it cartoonish, which was very impressive for the time. It's almost like the characters had more personality just by standing in the room because of the way they were designed. They had this very Looney Tune-esque, I guess Warner Brothers would be more of a, their animation department, the Termite Terrace and guys and all that stuff. Even the backgrounds just had this very, I really don't know what else to call it other than Looney Tune-ish, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's accurate.
Very cartoony.
Mm-hmm. But the art team for this game really set a high bar for many others to follow, I feel like. Because it was just like, wow.
Yeah.
If you're going to go all out and make your game look this good, you better make sure it sounds good. And while it had a very impressive musical score to go with it, Grossman and Schaefer actually took advantage of connections LucasArts had and assembled an impressive voice cast with a top recording studio. And while I say impressive, that is subjective. Some of the talent, like Jenny Westcott and Jane Jacobs, have done very little. I think they were actually, designers on other things, and they were just like, hey, could you do a voice? And it's like, oh, yeah. And just kind of filling in. You had other actors like Denny Delk, David Kirk Traylor, and even Nick Jameson, who have impressive lists of credits to their name. If you were to look up any of those names on IMDb, it's like, boom. You've got they voiced just about any and everything. You have heard their voice at some point in a game by now, even today. I promise you. The most impressive cast member, again, subjective, would be Richard Sanders, who had actually been a working actor for 2 decades before this and established himself over 10 years prior as Les Nessman on the often forgotten sitcom WKRP in Cincinnati, which no one will know today.
in Cincinnati.
Unless you were, born old, like us. Anyway.
Like, I had actually thought of that show in forever.
I know, right?
Oh, good God.
Anyway.
Yep.
Every actor who was hired, they brought their A game, delivered solid performances. It was just like perfection. The game is a non-linear, mind-bending, genre-building masterstroke that not only pays homage to the game before it, but also finds a way to stand apart, despite taking a few cues here and there. Mm-hmm. You know, it was gonna happen. If you're gonna make a sequel, you're gonna.
Right.
Now, a remaster was released back in 2016, which put a beautiful coat of paint on the game and enhanced the music from a MIDI format. You kids today might not know what that is. Mm-hmm. Gave it a more modern sound, as it were. Yeah. But the performances remain intact, as well as the gameplay. In fact, you even have an option in this remaster to play the original game, like as it was. You know,
nice.
All the pixels and all, instead of the flashy remaster. So this game showed how far the medium had come in such a short span of time, and how far it could go with the right people involved. In fact, to showcase the immense difference from Maniac Mansion to this game, which I know I haven't said the name of it.
Nope. Although I'm pretty sure I think I've got it figured out.
To show the immense difference, an Easter egg was planted within the game that allows players to actually play the original Maniac Mansion in its entirety from within the game.
Oh,
because
fun.
The file was so small, they were like, just stick it in there.
Just put it on there. Nice.
Put it in there. Truly, this was a much larger game, despite certain concessions they had to make. Mm-hmm. This game may have been called Day of the Tentacle, but with its release, it was truly the day of Dave Grossman and Tim Schafer, two random individuals looking for the same job, ending up together and creating a masterpiece. Now, there's a story worth exploring.
Fantastic. Oh, that's fun. Oh, that's fun. Yeah, that was a great game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I loved those.
In fact, as I was sitting there going through all this and writing, I was like, I want to play it again.
Kinda, yeah.
I want to play it again.
I was going to say, I know that they've had some honorable mentions in that category. I was wondering if I still had it. The lovely gentleman, I think we met him at TwitchCon, that did a variation of that game. And the reason why I want to look it up first is because it was long, and I want to make sure I had Super Army of Tentacles.
Yeah.
So, that was a lovely gentleman that we met at TwitchCon that was doing those games. Mm-hmm. And the one that I have, too, is the Search for Army of Tentacle 2.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to make sure I read it, because I knew you and I just both punched the microphone. So if you guys hear a punch, I did it earlier, and I saw my thing spike. So if you hear like a in the middle of Steven's thing.
It's the anger because of this asshole outside my house.
All the music. Mine's finally stopped.
Today. Why is it today?
I don't know.
Even the traffic has been loud. I swear to God, I don't understand why it's got to be so loud.
I don't either.
It's like I don't even have a wall in front of me. I don't understand why it can be so loud. Why do you need a loud vehicle?
You just need to move to a cabin in the woods. The Hubs and I have been joking about that for a really long time. And it's like, you know what? When it starts to actually make sense.
Yeah.
When you're like, when it's not even really a joke anymore, where you're like, you know what though? Could we get internet? Because then I'd be okay, I think, honestly.
I think that's the only thing holding me back. If I can get a signal up there, sure.
I am addicted to it. I feel like that would be my button. Take that away from me and be like, but that's all I do now.
Yeah.
Yes, people.
Yeah.
But so that's our show. You can hit us up sometime on Twitter at SuperMegaCrash, or send us an email at supermegacrash@gmail.com. Go follow us over on Instagram. You could view the weekly icon art that Steven puts his time and love into. Don't forget, you can also support the show by liking and leaving reviews on your preferred platform, wherever that may be. Or you can even go to patreon.com/pencil and paper productions. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were... Okay.
No. It's just the noise. Jesus Christ, the noise. And these people...
Oh, well, if you can hear me over Steven's horrible neighbors, you can tell your friends to find us on the Pencil and Paper Podcast Network, or you could search Super Mega Crash Brothers Turbo on Apple Podcasts, Podbean, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Amazon, and even youtube.com/Pencil and Paper Productions.
And now even Verbal, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like the
pretty
MySpace
sure
of podcasts or something.
Go to podcast.com and put in our name. You can find it.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. We get swooped up on stuff they don't even know half the time.
People are trying, it's just like, hey, do you want to be on our site? Sure. How much does it cost? Nothing. Or $5. Nothing, sure. $5,
Nothing,
nah.
sure. Yeah, $5. I don't know yet, man.
I'm
thank you
good.
for listening. Wherever you decided to listen. I'm Lacey Finley.
I'm Stephen White.
And you could join us again next time, Super Mega Crash Siblings. But until then,
game on.
This has been a Pencil and Paper Podcast Network production.